Donc, on va
Good morning to all. I'm opening the seminar. There is simultaneous translation, English, French, French, English. And the conference will be daily, is also recorded, by the way. I would like to thank my colleagues from Elft and Lausanne who joined us for this seminar on Instream wood. We've been talking about this subject for quite a while, and we wanted to report on scientific works carried out in the Génissiat dam and the Rhône River upstream from Génissiat for about 20 years now. And this was a great opportunity to our colleagues from the CNR to give us access to the material. Well, at least we can now share with them the results, the outcomes of the works, and we could then open up the discussion to colleagues, scientific colleagues, as well as manager colleagues who are involved in in-stream wood and wood management in catchment basins, so as to have a broad dialogue about these issues. So this is a scientific seminar to describe results and possibly to kick off a discussion on operational challenges or stakes or questions you may have within this context. Just to introduce the seminar, you know that in-stream wood, due to climate change and the somewhat significant change of the frequency and intensity of floods, but also due to the fact that part of the European territories have been widely reforested in the last 50 years, we may be facing several floods where in-stream woods would be contributing to the degradation of the situation. This is the Koblenz Lake, and you see a small port has been completely blocked by or jammed by wood. We're following floods in the Rhine River here in Germany, August 2021. Likewise in Leven on the Meuse River in July 2021. So clearly there are obstruction, blockage, floods, as well as problems of management of works, especially hydroelectrical dams, and Génissiat is one of them, where the wood, inflow, in-stream wood may be significant. This is a photo of or Google photo when you type, Alex Wood storm Deadwood. You see one of the most spectacular events with a massive arrival of wood on the Iberian coast, which are quite impressive. So we are dealing with management of risk of floods and logging and management of works, especially the cross-river transverse works. We know wood is a very interesting habitat where, in terms of ecology, you see two photos in the natural reserve of the Allier River Valley, where these issues are being treated. So I would like to mention that in line with what we're talking, in addition to what is being discussed today, two recordings of the River TV networks on dead wood for a living river. A lot of rivers work with works that would concern the ecological system have floating wood during the floods. To come back to the flood issue, so there is all a discussion from practitioners during the two events, which added to the today's interventions and which are most interesting to fuel the discussion. So today there will be 5 presentations. I'll deliver a brief introduction about the study of in-stream wood in the Génissiat dam. Then Virginia Ruiz-Filomena from Lausanne University will discuss the work on the flow and the origin of Instream wood, and Javier Del Hoyo, who started his PhD last year, will discuss new method to detect the origin of wood, of Instream wood. Then Capucine Dupont will address, from the Delft University, will discuss conversion of river driftwood into added value products. And this is quite an interesting approach, which certainly has a huge potential for the coming years and for the valorization of driftwood or Instream wood, but in other contexts. And then Hossein Ghaffarian will discuss now all stakes associated with the video monitoring, not just Génissiat, but video monitoring of wood. This is a work in progress, starting to characterize the flow of Instream wood in any catchment basin. Now, the study of Instream wood in the Génissiat started 23 years ago. So you see, it's been a long time. It started with work done by DEA, we would say a master today, by Bertrand Moulin's master. The idea was to look on the hydrographic network, what we called at the time, we still call the observation slots or windows, where we could actually assess, extract the wood material that was flowing through and flowing down the river. So we had a partnership with French Electricity Board, and at the time the Génissiat dam was managed by the EDF GDR. So Bertrand Moulin did an internship with EDF, and he did survey in the region a set of works, dams. He did the surveys with the operators to know where Instream wood was extracted and if he could actually study it. This is where we identified the Génissiat dam as being a really quite a remarkable observation window, because wood comes from upstream, of course, possibly from the Valzerine, not from the Arve River, nothing from the Geneva Lake, of course. And this wood has to be extracted at the dam. It cannot pass the dam. Therefore, we have access to the entire material produced by the catchment basin. So you see here a photo, you see the wood storage at the dam, the surface evolves, and when materials add too wide, too large, the company, the operators have to remove the material and often the extraction product. This is a photo 23 years old, shows the platform still exists, and the material extracted is stored for a while before being processed, and we can therefore have access to the material and to study it. Within this framework, two strategies were applied. The first one was to say, okay, let's try to measure the flow of wood, what you call the in-stream wood flow, the quantity of material that reaches the material per unit of time. It could be tons per hour or per day or by flow. It can be cubic meter of wood per day or per event, for example. So since that date, now we've been measuring the wood flow using video. We have a kind of a unit standard, which is the cubic meter per hour, and which makes it possible to have a sort of a significant metrics when we talk about, we share information about these in-stream wood flows. So you flow rates. You see the first works done at the time. These are volumes, extreme volumes. The figures you see here, for example, in tons, is what was provided by EDF. French, 1 point is one extraction. So we looked one dot, we looked at the value of the flood peak between 2 extraction, the highest one, and we could see that there is some relationship, but there are some periods with quite surprising sort of aberrant events, but there is a high variability depending on the situations. You see, for example, here two exceptional events which led to the same quantity of wood, two events which took place one after the other. And we realized then that the position of the flood was, as not just its intensity, played a key role for the production of wood at the level of the works. Then we also tried to examine for the extraction, one dot is an extraction, and for the periods considered, we looked at the flow rate of valzarine as well as the flow rate of the Arve. For this event, we realized that the Arve was not undergoing a flood, while the valzarine had a flood, and the quantity of wood coming then was clearly associated with the valzarine catchment basin. Whereas you see this one, we had high waters for valzarine as well as high waters for the Arve. So these works on the flow of woods then were developed more widely. And you see here the second strategy, on the one hand, to measure the flow, but as well to try to understand the nature of the wood coming to the works. And by understanding the nature of the wood, we can basically hope to trace back the sources of the wood. And this is one of the actions that did kept us busy in time, and that will be able to describe thanks to Virginia's work and the work from Javier. So you see the first works, the extraction from February 1999 and that of November 1999. We can see that most of the wood pieces or wood debris are broken and drained. There are root systems, and little is actually cut. And we realized as well that for small debris that the beavers were quite busy in the basin and could have played a major role. The data shown includes all possible sizes, but just to basically give you an illustration of the type of variable or information that can be collected. Are there branches, bark? What's the decomposition level and the condition of the ends or the end buds, like roots or others? Following Bertrand Moulin's work, we did work in Génissiat. EDF wanted us to work on the Isère River with the wood fluxes were quite significant, especially just upstream from Grenoble. So he did a work on the wood fluxes in Isère, and there were an article on the origin of woods in 2017. Then we did a new body of work, corpus of work, that is Véronique Bedacchio. She held a doctorate in 2017, and we tried to automatize the wood flux monitoring at the dam. So what we did is that we equipped the dam, you see, with a video camera. You see the capture angle of the camera in order to be able to take a snapshot, if you want, of the wood stock or wood raft area within the reservoir, and which is taken out at regular intervals. You see, the idea, the theory was to measure the surface area of the wood raft to deduct the mass or the volume present in the dam. So we got some pretty good results, hence the publication, but we also had some surprises which are interesting to look into, but we haven't had time to explore them. So a couple of images of this wood raft you see at several times, or Woodstock, if you want, in June 2011, and others, examples of those situations. You see the colors, the light, the type of problems we will face to automate the wood raft detection. What we did basically, that Veronique, within the framework of a PhD, or set metrics to sample wood. She applied a mask to remove what was not, which does not correspond to the water, the reservoir. This corresponds to the dam, for example. Then she identified parameters from that grid. She could then separate wood from water. And then she set up a manual classification based on several photos. And then she designed a kind of a procedure based on a linear discrimination analysis to separate the wood, non-wood, to see what are the parameter specified the differences between groups. It did work well, actually. I will spare you the details. And then we got to, we were able to produce some kind of a sort of, we see the report, you see a report, we see the evolution of the surface occupied by the wood raft within the reservoir. In time, we have the surface area, and on this figure, you can see, which is not theoretical, which is an example of what we've been able to show. There is a high variability. This wood raft, although it is not extracted, as kind of a life in the reservoir, which is quite significant and will depend on the way we will actually use the dam to produce electricity. We were also able to set up a law, to elaborate a law which makes it to go from the wood raft surface to the volume of the same wood raft, so as to be able to assess the wood flux in time within the reservoir. This works well, actually. This law is quite efficient when wood is pushed against the dam, so that is in flood period. But when it's no longer a flood period or high water period, the raft tends to expand, and it is not possible to apply this conversion law or prediction. So we can calculate the wood flux, but in a very specific context of high waters. And the technique, even though it could function, it appears as being usable, but not as a routine system in time. And we decided to use other techniques. Now, since then, we've invested a lot, even more time in the origin, about the origin of the wood. And so in 2016, 2018, first tests were carried out with two master students, directed by Virginia Villanueva and myself. And then in 2020, Virginia was able to get a position at the Lausanne University with additional means, and especially a thesis grant. And Javier Del Hoyo joined her to work to finally tune the topic. And then within this framework, we were able to work with Mario Franca and Capucine Dupont within the framework of the H2O Lyon. We financed a master for Abdullah Katarne on this issue of valorization of wood, that we will discuss in 2018 and 2019 and 2021. There were significant progress made on the possibility to use video cameras to analyze wood flows. And today, in fact, we work to equip the basin upstream from the works of the dam to monitor the wood flocks using video, to do video monitoring, and to understand where the wood comes from. Does it come from the Gifre, from the Arve River, the main branch, the Chamonix domain, or from the Valserine, or from the entire sites, all the sites. So thank you for your kind attention. We'll go now straight into details about the various topics. And thank you for your kind attention. I don't know if